Welcome back to the F1 2018 career mode here, and you join me for round number 18 of the calendar at the Circuit of the Americas, COTA, the American Grand Prix. We are in our second race for Mercedes here. We had a somewhat okay showing in Japan, qualified 7th, got P4 in the end, had to get, a bit muscly, bit shoulders out, bit argy-bargy for that P4. I think that track suiting me and being a more personal favourite of mine meant that I was going to be able to do better, in all honesty. But at least it's a dry race here. At least a dry race. This one, obviously, I think the AI are pretty quick at this circuit, and I don't particularly enjoy a lot of the final sector. So we will have to see. We're in the process of building up some resource points, as I really want to go down this powertrain upgrade, but we need 1350 for the major power upgrade. Let's get into quali.
It's time for today's qualifying session to begin here in the United States. Welcome to the Circuit of the Americas.
So here we go. Coming up for our second lap. Our first one didn't go well. Got us a solid P18. And even though I know the Mercedes is underperforming and I know the AI is good at this circuit, I can still do better. So here we go. Turn 1 went very wide just for a better exit. You can see that the delta already up a bit wide on the exit, and that's costing me running down towards my favourite part of the circuit, the old left, right, left, and then the long right. You just got to wait for the drop down to 6 to get the front end in, then take a big old clunker curb on the left, then the long right hander, and then just switch to the left as soon as possible, run it out wide. There we go, 4/10 up on our previous best. That is one of the most satisfying bits to get right. I personally think I could have done it better there. I've missed the apex completely for the hairpin, but it means a longer exit, and it means I should be gaining time down this straight as we're leaving in hot lap. Actually, I'm surprised. That's why I'm losing time compared to Delta in hot lap rather than overtake. That is a mistake on my part. I didn't realise that at the time. As we now come through the end of the second sector into the final sector. Like I say, not too hot on this one. A lot of the corners and the cambering, I don't know, I just feel like I don't get very good exits out of these corners. We now come through to one of the hardest corners that I've got completely wrong, completely missed the apex of. But we're now going to come through to the quadruple right-hander, similar to that of Turkey, or the turn 8 in Turkey, and then through to the blind left-hander. Kissed it perfectly though, run the car out wide beautifully, then up to the final corner, which can be difficult on traction. Just kiss the curb there, run it out wide, over 8/10 improvement. That puts us up into P9 with my best lap. Let's see where that leaves me Sunday afternoon, but I feel like that's everything I could give. Let's get into the race and try and get more points.
In 2012, America's on-again, off-again love affair with Formula One finally seemed to settle down with the completion of this wonderful racing facility here in Texas. Since then, we've been treated to some incredible races, including, of course, that classic wet-dry championship decider of 2015. It's the Circuit of the Americas then, situated 14 miles outside the great city of Austin. This is the 3.6-mile lap with 20 corners, 10 each to the left and to the right, and top speeds of around 200 miles per hour. Overtaking opportunities are available into turns 1 and 12, especially with that rear wing DRS wide open. Joining me for the Grand Prix once again is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about the captain. That was a solid result in their last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
With that then, let's run through the grid order. Sergio Perez will lead us away from pole position, and starting alongside in P2 is Sebastian Vettel. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Ricciardo, Raikkonen, Nico Hülkenberg and Bottas, Gasly, Sainz, Alonso and the captain, Verstappen. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Ocon, Kevin Magnussen and Van Dorn, Leclerc, Grosjean, Lance Stroll and Brendan Hartley. Ericsson and Sergei Sirotkin rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
So here we have it, the American Grand Prix. Bit of memory buffer going on. There should be a one-stop, super soft to soft compound tyres, and just try and do what we can in the race. Obviously, you saw from qualifying, clearly not breaking the top 10 goes to show really in my opinion, the true pace of the car. I think Suzuka, like I said, I was able to actually do some bits with the car personally with my driving style, but that with this weekend just isn't really going to work. Like I say, it's just not really a circuit that I do too well at, so to say. So try and make the best of a bad situation. Obviously, we can easily go for the one stop. Hopefully, cars will run out of tyres on their ultra softs in the first stint as we build with the lights. 5 are on at the American Grand Prix. Lights are out and away we go, starting from 10th due to grid penalties. Verstappen behind me on the ultra soft gets a brilliant start, as well as Esteban Ocon. Both of them on the ultra softs. We're going to go down the inside, very wide entry into turn 1, up into P8 already. Gasly once again up there for Toro Rosso. He's battling Nico Hülkenberg going into the first sector through the left and the right. And as they continue to battle, hopefully that will leave the door open for me to stick my nose in, which I'm going to try and do as we come to the end of the first sector. Hasn't quite happened, as they're still going side by side up the hill now. It's Hülkenberg, it's Gasly. Who's going to get the edge? It is Pierre Gasly, and that's going to mean Hülkenberg still could try and make a move to the outside of the following corner, but I think Gasly's just going to have the move covered off. It's going to compromise Hülkenberg's exit. We initially try and pull alongside him, but he gets better traction on those ultra soft tyres, so we're going to dip into the slipstream of the Renault, and we're going to put it up into overtake mode. Hopefully we're going to be able to get the move done into the corner. We pull out. Hülkenberg pulls out to try and take on Pierre Gasly. We've gone deep. We've gone far too deep. We've braked way too late. We're going to have to go into the runoff. There goes a Renault. There goes a second Renault. We've managed to pass, of all people, Pierre Gasly into that corner, but we've lost out to Hülkenberg and to Carlos Sainz. And Gasly now on P2, or on lap 2. He's coming back at me for P8, but we go wide. We're going to try and hold it all the way around the outside of the Toro Rosso. That's one of the benefits of this track. It's so wide, you can hold moves round the outside if you carry enough speed, but as long as you don't go too deep like we did on lap 1. So both Renaults getting away from me there. We are up to P8 at the moment, and we're going to have to basically hope these tyres carry on with their performance and hang on over the course of this first stint. I get the feeling there are going to be some cars that started on the ultra soft tyre that are going to try a one stop, and we've actually got Pierre Gasly now, who is on the ultra softs. He qualified in the top 10, going to launch his car, going to try and come screaming past me on the left-hand side. Is he going to be able to make a move successfully into turn 12? We brake late once again and just hold the car out. Gasly has a better run, though, on the exit. Puts him to the outside of the next corner, though, so we dive it down the inside, squeeze him out, just make sure he can't get on the traction. We retain P8, but Gasly recently on form in that Toro Rosso since getting that second place in Japan, as we now move on to lap 5. Gasly still trying to chase me down, but there is a bit of gap behind Gasly, and Carlos Sainz is actually dropping back from the train ahead of him. He was right up there with Hülkenberg. He's now 3.7 seconds behind them. So I don't know if he's either A, his tyres are going off, or B, he has damage. I'm willing to bet it could be that one, as his teammate and the Mercedes ahead, who would have started on the same tyre, are both pulling away from him. And Sainz, appears to be moving very slow in the corners. We've now come up to the end of lap 6. What is the gap to the Renault ahead of us? It can't be much more than a second. It's pretty much bang on a second. Any closer, we would have some DRS, but unfortunately that is not the case right now. That being said, though, we are going to go through the left and right, so you can just see Sainz moving very slowly, especially through the elongated right hand there. He must have some kind of end plate damage or like winglet damage, just one of the structures on the front wing that means he's just got no front end on that Renault at the moment, and it's going to open him up to a move. We're going to just sit behind him for now, and then we're going to try and dive to the inside of the hairpin. Can we get it stuck? They tried to cut back underneath me, didn't have any of it, and where we were still behind Sainz at the detection point, that's going to allow me to open up DRS, and we should, in theory, pull away from him. Next car up is Valtteri Bottas, actually running in 6th. He's currently battling with Nico Hülkenberg. Gasly has got past the Renault as well. He tries to overtake me around the outside of turn 12, but nothing being done there, as we're both now pulling away from Carlos Sainz. So that goes to show he has damage. Looking at the tyres, about 30% worn on the rears. Not too bad. Gasly, though, has come out of nowhere like an absolute bullet into turn 1. We're going to go wide, see if he wants to make a move. He does initially nip down the inside, but on traction, due to the wider exit that we had, we're able to retain P7 over Pierre Gasly. We're not really making any inroads at the moment into the cars ahead, as Bottas is the first man to blink. He's going to be the first car coming into the pits at the end of lap 8. I wonder if he's going to go for a 1 or a 2 stop, because to take a soft 20 laps is a big ask What's Bottas going on to here? Unfortunately, we're not going to see what tyres he went on to, as Gasly got ahead of him too early. But that moves us up to P6, and we've got about 6 laps or so before we're going to be coming in, as more cars are in the pits at the end of lap 9. So Bottas hoping for an undercut there, especially against Hülkenberg by the looks of things. But let's see what these cars go on to. We should hopefully see, as Hülkenberg is pitting, Hülkenberg onto the softs, Raikkonen also onto the softs, as is Daniel Ricciardo. So these guys are going to hope to take this set of tyres to the end of the Grand Prix. And that's a little frustrating for me, because I was certainly hoping if both myself and Ricciardo had 1 stop left in the Grand Prix, we might be able to do something with that. But as it stands, they've got no stops left to make, and I've got 1. So we are definitely going to drop further back down the field, as we're currently running P4. It's very quickly going to become P5 as Raikkonen screams past me, but he leaves the door open into turn 1. Thank you very much, Kimi Raikkonen. You know, I've got to show that I deserve to belong in a top team and fight a top team. Sure, we did that with Force India, but, you know, with a prestigious team like Mercedes, no knock on Force India there, but we are going to take the fight to Kimi. As we now come on later on into the lap, we're accelerating at the hairpin. We've got Rich and High, and we're not going to try and burn too much energy, but Raikkonen is in the slipstream with DRS, and I'm fairly confident it's going to be a comfy overtake for him. Indeed it is, but he leaves room on the outside, but he just casually drifted his car across. He did lock up though, and that meant he wasn't able to get on the traction. So again, Raikkonen, similar to when we were battling him in Austria in the Force India, kept locking up, kept making mistakes. So Raikkonen showing his age a little bit maybe, but now once again Raikkonen, bit of a tap, bit of contact into the hairpin that time around. But we're on to lap 12. We're going to be coming in at the end of this lap, and Raikkonen going to be trying to make a move. He's done wasting time with me, apparently, and he screams back past me. Can we try and do anything into turn 12? Once again, this time Raikkonen holds firm. This time, we're not able to get through, unfortunately. So, yeah, Raikkonen, unfortunately, gets past me that time around. Is what it is. We're now going to come into the pits, get rid of these tyres, and go on to a set of softs, as we once again, every bollard I see, you know, be it the ones in Suzuka or be it the American ones, which taking our frustrations out on them. Alonso appears to be on the same strategy as myself. He's coming into the pits. Are we going to get held up by the McLaren? I certainly hope not. 2.1 by the Mercedes boys. Excellent stop, and we don't get held up by Fernando Alonso. Where are we going to come out? The car we're looking for is Pierre Gasly. There he goes, and he's unfortunately got ahead of me. So is Ocon. Ocon actually briefly ahead of me. Ericsson, we're going to plunge down the inside. Bit of wheel banging, bit of contact with Ocon's side pod there. That was bold. That was very argy-bargy, elbows out. Probably a little bit against the rules, but we got a little bit of a warning for it, but nothing too bad. We retain our position against Esteban Ocon. And like I said, the car we were looking out for was Pierre Gasly, and he has got ahead of us. He is running the soft compound tyre as well, I believe, so he will be going to the end of the race, but our tyres will be fresher. First, we have to get ahead of Marcus Ericsson, so let's see where we can do that. Can we do it this time around? We're not exactly the closest to the Sauber. We should get DRS, but even then, even if we turn up the wick, I don't think we're going to get past him. In fact, we need to look more in our mirrors, because look at the speed of the Force India of Esteban Ocon. He has screamed past us. Is he going to get it slowed down, or is he going to cream into Ericsson? He gets it slowed down. I am amazed at the speed he came at me there, because, Jesus, in fact, we've made a mistake into Sector 3, and that meant Verstappen was able to have a little bit of a go at us, but by the end of the lap, Ericsson in the pits, Ocon now pulling away from us. We've got other cars in the pits as well, so we're going to be up now to P9. Verstappen is going to have a go down the inside of turn 1. We're going to go wide. Can we retain the position against Verstappen? Yes, we can, similar to what we did earlier on in the Grand Prix, but Ocon's not really getting too far ahead of me. I do want to try and stick with him, because I do feel we can re-overtake him, but at the moment, personal best of a 35.4, and at the moment P9 appears to be what we're scrapping over, which in all honesty is not really what I'm hankering for. Now Ocon is on the super soft tyres, so he still has to make another pit stop. That's one thing we should bear in mind for this Grand Prix, is he is slowly starting to pull away, and Verstappen is harrying me into the hairpin. I think he's going to try and make a move come the end of this straight, you know, even though he has got that Tag Heuer branded Renault power. With DRS, it's just as good as any engine. He screams past us, bit of contact with his side pod on the way through. He's locked up his right front tyre. He just gets it slowed down. I expected him to go straight on, hence why I left him the room. I initially wanted to try and cut underneath him, but Verstappen, fair play to him. I think that that lock-up and that late braking was very intentional, because it meant I couldn't really have a go. But what we're going to need to try and do is Bottas makes his second pit stop of the race, so we're back up to P9, and Bottas onto the super soft tyre for this final stint. Stick with Verstappen. I think we have a stronger car than him through the first sector, so we've stuck with him, and we're coming into the hairpin. We're going to have DRS, and Gasly is actually backing Ocon up, so he's still not really getting away. Hopefully, we can use our superior Mercedes power to get past Verstappen this time around. It's going to come very late in the straight, but we're in the slipstream. We're gaining. We're definitely gaining now as we go 205 miles an hour. It's going to be very late on the brakes versus the Red Bull driver, and we have to take a lot of curb, but we've managed to get past him. He gets a much superior exit as we were all over the curb. We have to brake late once again into Sector 3, and that's exactly what we've done. Back up past Verstappen. Ocon has passed Gasly's. He's up to 6th. Gasly down to 7th. Can we try and catch the Toro Rosso? We come to the end of lap 20. Ocon is gone down the road. We crossed the line. It's a 36.5. We're 2.4 behind Pierre Gasly. He is our target. Here's who we want to pass. In fact, actually, I think Ocon, beg your pardon, I think Ocon's pit, actually, because we're now P7, so yes. Ocon's pit. Sorry, I'm very confused. I recorded this race some time ago, and I'm recording over it on the 12th of April, so, you know, that's to date when I'm doing this, but we've now got Max Verstappen trying to have another go at me on lap 21. He's certainly coming up in our rearview mirror, and he's certainly going to be last of the late breakers because he's Max Verstappen. And once again, he's placed his car absolutely perfectly. We're going to stick with him on the outside, brake late into Sector 3. He has to turn out of the corner. And if you can get Max Verstappen to turn out of a move, you have succeeded in the mind games versus Verstappen. So lap 22, I've got it completely wrong going down the hill into the hairpin. It does mean I'm going to have a superior exit, and Verstappen got very punchy on the exit, and that's cost him a bit of momentum. So much so, Valtteri Bottas is in my slipstream. Verstappen with the DRS, though, is going to come screaming past on the left. Bottas is on the right. What are we going to do into turn 12? We're going to brake late. We're going to brake far too... No, just about get it slowed down. Verstappen makes the move, though, and Bottas able to take the place, although we go back down the inside of Bottas. Once again, we're just fighting tooth and nail to try and get the best finishing position possible, and we're all over the place, making mistakes everywhere, getting over the curbs in braking zones and traction zones, making too many mistakes in my personal opinion. But now we're coming through the first sector. We are going to try and once again have a go at Max Verstappen. If we can just stick with him and get close enough to him on the back straight, we will be able to have a go. All I want to do is try and finish ahead of this Red Bull, and more importantly ahead of my teammate Valtteri Bottas, who's pulled off a 2-stop today, whereas we've done the 1-stop. But we're in the slipstream now of Max Verstappen. There's only going to be 4 laps remaining in this Grand Prix soon, and we're gaining on him in the slipstream. We pull to the left-hand side of the Red Bull. He comes across slightly defensively. We're going to brake, make it so he can't turn in, do what basically he did to us. We're back up into P7, Verstappen down to P8, and that's going to put him in the firing line of Valtteri Bottas. And there's a Force India, which I believe to be Esteban Ocon, coming at this train at a vast rate of knots, probably on ultra soft or super soft tyres. So that's something for us to think about as we come into the closing stages of this Grand Prix. Lap 24 on the acceleration out the hairpin. You're going to see this straight a hell of a lot because it's the main overtaking place at Kota. Bottas now comes out the hairpin. He's going to be the one making a move, and I've reconsidered obviously what I want to do. Bottas going down the inside. We're going to try and fight the position. We're going to try and hold it against him, but if Bottas gets past us fair and square, I have a look, we're going to lunge down the inside against him, and it's cost us a bit of time, bit of momentum. He's still there on our inside. He falls back behind me though. If Bottas gets past us, it might even be more beneficial for him, because it means he's not going to be scrapping with Verstappen and with Esteban Ocon, and we've compromised our line through the long turn 8. That means Bottas is going to have position on us on the outside of the blind left-hander, and that's meant I've gone off the track once again. I'm doing like, for those of you on the real life 2019 Australian Grand Prix, remember Giovinazzi? And just scrapping for his absolute worth, like his life and death depended on it. That's what we're doing now for P7. So the tyres now, as the engineer is letting me know, the tyres are giving out, and Ocon on much fresher super soft tyres in a much faster car has definitely just made mincemeat of me. I tried to cut back underneath him in the hairpin and then couldn't get the traction. He's going to have DRS, unfortunately. We're going to try and hang on to him with the slipstream, but that Mercedes engine in the back of that Force India, we know firsthand how powerful it is, and he is catapulted into the distance. So Ocon, unfortunately, up into P7, we down to P8, and we've got Bottas P9 and Verstappen, of course, just behind him. So it's now about fighting and seeing what position we will finish in. We're going to get points today, barely, at this point. So Bottas is challenging me down into turn 12 once again. He's super soft tyres. Bottas is long through this time around, and that I've sort of admitted defeat at this point. I figure now I'm just holding up Bottas. So I've let him go, and that was the last we saw. That Esteban Ocon set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on the final lap. It's Alonso up into P10 on the final lap, but we come through the final corner. It's P9. It's a sour result, personally.
Well, that's a disappointing result for sure, but we'll try to bounce back at the next one.
I can see them on their way out to the podium now. Force India have really come a long, long way in this sport. And what a special race this was, to see them earn that top spot.
So Sergio Perez wins the United States Grand Prix ahead of Sebastian Vettel and Daniel Ricciardo. The top three separated by 5.5 seconds. Then came Kimi Räikkönen in fourth, who of course we were battling earlier on in the Grand Prix. Nico Hulkenberg brought it home fifth for a return to form for him, with Pierre Gasly continuing his run of good form in the Toro Rosso there in sixth place. Then came Esteban Ocon first of the two stoppers in seventh, with Valtteri Bottas just behind him. But yeah, Ocon's pace in that Force India was tremendous. We brought it home ninth. I think personally for me, just get points is points, but not the best result for me today. And Alonso bringing it home in P10 ahead of Max Verstappen. We drop behind Sergio Perez in the driver's standings. Then he goes up into second place, 32 points behind Sebastian Vettel. And I think this title now is, personally, I think it's Vettel's to lose at this particular moment. He's now back over a Grand Prix victory, which I've been talking about all season long, ahead of second place. And with only 3 rounds left to go, it's certainly looking good for the Ferrari man. As it comes to the constructor side of things, Force India get 1 more point over Scuderia Ferrari, and they move to 19 points ahead. Now we are, as Mercedes, we are now 59 points behind Red Bull, so we can't really do much with them.
The fans really seem to enjoy that. You made it look easy.
Made what look easy?
It's looking like the championship is already won. Do you think there's still time for this to change?
Were you not listening? I just talked about that, Claire. Yeah, whatever.
That was an epic battle today. How do you think this will play out?
I thought it was okay. I think the better fight, personally, was between me and Pierre Gasly.
It was more like dodgems than Formula 1 today, wasn't it?
Just friendly banter. That's all it was. Just elbows out, you know, enjoying ourselves.
Great. Well, that's everything.
Well, there we have the USA Grand Prix. I hope you did enjoy. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a like if you did enjoy and comment any feedback down below. Yeah, not my best race weekend, in all honesty. It's never really a good one for me, is USA. Personally, like I say, for me to just get points is the best result I could possibly foresee. The AI there, just the fact the AI are able to so comfortably get those ultra softs to like lap 9, lap 10, and then do the one stop, even if they were the tyres they qualified on, mean that with my sort of pace and my sort of tyre wear, I never really get a result over them. We do have Mexico next time out, and Mexico has quite historically been known to be a very good track for me. It's where I won the title back in F1 2017 in Season 3 at McLaren. So, not saying I'm going to win, but it's a more favourable track for me. That is next time out, and of course it is another power circuit, so I'm hoping that we can try and do something there. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.